Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's up, Bears fans? The last day in Indianapolis.
Are you guys okay?
I'm great.
I'm so good. I don't want to leave.
The pre-show vibe was a little rough.
What are you talking about?
We were sitting here laughing and losing our minds.
What made you guys? You guys are dying of laughter. What happened?
I have no idea what happened, but
Carm said something that should definitely not be repeated for air, and I just started laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah, okay. I'm not. We shouldn't bring to air the last thing we said about Greg Braggs, so we'll leave it alone. No, that's not what it was. Greg Braggs, what a week for Greg Braggs. What a week for Nicholas Moreano. What a week for Will DeWitt. What a week for Adam Hoge. What a week for PHNX. What a week for CHGO. What a week. What a day for CJ Stroud.
What about me?
It's great.
You were great too. No, what a week for Lawrence Benedetto. Absolutely dominating. Taking on 7,000 things over there that.
Yeah, the power just went out like 7 minutes ago, and I think we're going to be fine, but, we'll see.
Is this thing on? Are we live?
Flood warnings on the way home, Hoge.
Well, I would like to point out, first of all, we apologize for starting late. It is once again, the entire city of Phoenix's fault. And, no, it's not. Everything's fine, and we're happy we're here because we probably won't be here Monday. None of us are surviving our trip home tonight.
No.
So let's make it a good last show, guys.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try not to get melancholy. Today was a huge day with the quarterbacks talking. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud at the top of that list, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, who Justin Fields has asked for, would love to be one of his wide receivers next year. He was there was some fun conversation there. There's a ton of content on all of our Twitter pages: CHGO Bears, Hoge, Braggs, Nick, Will, all of it.
Yes, but especially if you want to catch up on, well, literally everything the last few days, but especially this morning at CHGO_Bears. There's a lot of good stuff up from all the quarterbacks the Bears are not drafting. Maybe a couple they will. One or two. I don't know.
Let's play CJ, right? And because he doesn't want to be a Bear or doesn't want to talk about being a Bear.
Yeah, so C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, friend of Justin Fields. Very interesting. By the way, we have J.J. Stankevitz coming up to talk some Colts stuff, and Carm already worked out a trade this morning with a member of the Colts organization, so we'll talk about that.
I thought that was big.
And Brad Spielberger back on the show, too, to talk some free agency a little bit later on. But we do want to start with the quarterbacks. We do want to hear what C.J. Stroud had to say. I think you guys want to hear what C.J. Stroud had to say because it was very, very interesting on basically the idea of, is Justin Fields actually a good quarterback, and would you want to be a Chicago Bear? Here it all is.
Hey, what did you think of Justin Fields this season, your fellow Ohio State?
Yeah, I was proud of him, man. There's so many times you get knocked back down, but I feel like a true man's character is when you get knocked down, how do you get up? And he's got up every time, and he stepped up to the plate, and he hasn't blamed anybody, he hasn't pointed no fingers, he hasn't anything. And as a human, that just shows you what type of man he is and what type of family he comes from. So just knowing kind of him as a person, I mean, that's really cool. Just because it's hard, man. You get hit so hard, so many times hard in the face. It's you have to make plays using your feet, and he ain't no damn running back. He's a quarterback, and he can sling that rock. So I'm going to stand up for my brother every time, and he's going to do great things in his career, and I'm excited to play with him. I mean, no, I don't want to go there. I mean, that's his team. So, but I mean, I think I got to do my thing. I got to go build my legacy, and I know he's rooting me. He texted me yesterday morning. So, me and him are brothers for life.
So, first of all, I find this very interesting because it wasn't just Stroud. There is a respect level for Justin Fields that we've discussed on this show before that we heard throughout the season from opponents, players that went against him. But now we're hearing it from this quarterback class that, like, you could tell that, and it wasn't just Stroud. I think Bryce Young had some comments like that this morning too, that these guys, like, look up to Justin, they respect him, and they really have no desire to be a Chicago Bear. Because Justin's there and they know that. And I think that's very interesting because usually you hear, and maybe this will change if and when the Bears do not have the number 1 pick anymore, but most years you hear all these prospects go, yeah, I want to be the number 1 pick. I want to be the best. I want to be the top guy. I want to get the most money by being the number 1 pick, but just be able to say I was the number 1 pick. And right now they're like, no. Not with the Bears, because Justin's there, and I respect him.
I think there's probably a lot at play especially with somebody like C.J. Stroud, who went to Ohio State, who's friends with Fields, who Fields is texting. Same thing with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I asked, which we could play at some point here, compare and contrast.
What am I playing?
Jackson
Smith. The thing that Carm, we've already gone over this twice with him in the pre-show meeting, is happening in the 4th segment that he's not even in.
That's okay.
But is it something I have?
You definitely have it. You definitely have it. Don't worry about it, Lawrence.
It's on the Bears Twitter, I'm pretty sure. CHGO Bears.
How does that help me?
It's a tweet that we can play, yeah.
It doesn't matter. The point is that I asked Jackson Smith-Njigba to compare and contrast the two.
Yeah.
And he wasn't exactly super excited about doing that either. I also think the third thing that's in play is that agents are probably talking, and people probably know the Bears are not drafting a quarterback. Justin Fields is not going anywhere. I think you can boil all of those in together. Does that seem fair?
Yes, I mean,
it's part of the combination, right?
Like I said earlier in the week, it wrote in my Bears things, and has continued. I has still yet to talk to a single human being here in Indianapolis who actually thinks Justin Fields is getting traded. It's just not happening. And I think that they understand it too. So, yes, they've met with the Bears. I think it was more to like check off a box more than anything else, probably mutually for both sides. But, I think the more important thing is just the respect level that we're hearing from these guys. I think that does matter.
Yeah, it's the opponents. Yeah. It's the other quarterbacks. It's these wide receivers where, I'm going around asking some of these guys what would it be like with your skill set, how does that complement what Justin Fields can do as a quarterback? They're like, well, I talked to Jaden Reed earlier, and he was like, I can create separation. You can find me easily due to me creating quick separation. I feel like I can take the top off of defense. He has a very strong arm where I can run under balls for him. So you see some of even these receivers envisioning what it would be like to play with a guy like that, because he's not only just a pocket. He can throw from the pocket, but he can also create on his own, which not every quarterback can do that, and that's what makes Justin Fields a very unique player.
Well, and Jaden Reed, Chicago guy, high school ball, Naperville.
Yep.
So I liked one of the things that he said is I was just so happy when they drafted Fields because, he could be a franchise changer. But we also have to throw in the slight qualifier that literally you talk to any of these players and ask them about any team, they love that team, they love their QB, they love their coach. I mean, they're
yeah.
So let's not.
They're worse than a used car salesman, aren't they?
Well,
no, I mean they're selling themselves. They got to.
Of course. Yeah,
I don't
want to play for that team.
I don't want to go to the Giants. They suck. I mean, none of them are doing that.
That'd be great.
Which I like to blame. I'd like to blame Jeff Joniak because and maybe credit him at the same time.
Oh, I love when you do this.
Well, at the start of this combine, what I have learned in my first ever combine is that I was asking people, so have you talked to the Bears? And then I didn't do that in front of Joniak, and then I saw him later. That he's like, I can't stand it when people ask if they played for this team. And by the end of the week, I've lost it because every huddle. Have you talked to the Bucks? Have you talked to the Cowboys? Have you talked to the Giants? Have you talked to the? Oh, okay, just they've stop.
They talk.
Have you talked to the St. Louis Battlehawks?
It's exhausting.
You definitely were again, Lawrence.
Yeah.
What do we have to do? Am I just like boring in our meetings that no one listens to me when I talk? We talked about this last week. I said no one asked that question.
Yeah.
Your meetings are great. I love your meetings.
It is a waste of time.
I'll say this.
It is a waste of time.
I will say this. Most of the meetings this is the Zoom phone calls, right?
Well, this was our in-person meeting on the combine last week that we had.
Hope takes this personal. Is what's interesting here. I'm sorry, Adam. That's my bad. I should have been listening. I should have been listening to Hollywood a little closer. Than I only did it on day one.
Did you just call me Hollywood?
Yeah, that's your new nickname.
Hoagiewood.
You're Hollywood Hoge.
Wow. I like Hoagiewood.
Hoagiewood's fine.
I think Hollywood Hoge's better though.
Hollywood Hoge.
It reminds me of that. NWO for life.
I mean, the man just shows up and the lights get turned on, and he's Hollywood Hoge.
I am not Hollywood. I could be Lincoln Park Hoge, maybe.
We could keep playing around with it.
If we want to be accurate.
I see JJ Stankevitz, by the way, lurking in the background.
JJ's going to be – I'm still upset at that horse thing that assaulted me this morning. I still haven't gotten over this.
The Colt mascot that made out with you?
Wait, that happened to you, Adam? I didn't see the video evidence of that one because I know.
Yeah, see, Carm kind of baited him into it, and there was like an exchange between them, and it was like kind of a reward for a trade that was worked out in the moment. That thing just attacked me out of nowhere. I didn't ask for it.
It's on Twitter.
Not my attack.
Yeah,
there's no video evidence of mine.
It just happened.
I could be making it up.
Just imagine.
Stars remain.
Just sub me out and put in Hoge. It's the same thing. That mascot wants to make out with everybody here. Blue.
Should we have JJ sit down?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
JJ, our good friend.
He probably knows. He probably knows all about that mascot. Can I say the word?
What word?
What word? It depends what word it is.
Be careful now. His friend is here.
I don't know. That mascot he's kind of making out with everybody. Blue.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pied by Blue before.
Pied.
Oh, pie.
Currently,
I saw that video.
Yeah, on the group chat that we're in, the picture of the group chat is of me getting pied by Blue.
Yes, it
Dude's
is.
aggressive.
Iconic.
It is iconic. Hey, congrats, guys. You can all say now you've met with the Colts at the Combine because I'm a Colts employee.
That's
a
big.
great point. I also got assaulted by a member of the organization this morning, so I could also say that Blue. How does Blue get the color blue as his Twitter handle? That's what really blows my mind.
You know,
Just
you snooze,
Blue.
you lose.
Blue's been out here fighting the good fight for years, apparently.
Blue is he's the best. He's awesome. He's got like 9 million followers on TikTok.
Does he really?
Which is a platform that
you are extremely jealous of.
That's
that.
what we're going to be.
Nicholas is going to make it.
I'm not even
Nicholas is going to make a 9 million and one right now.
Yeah,
this is
I
great.
am.
Congrats, Blue. I just got you a new follower on TikTok.
I'll have to do it later.
I
It's
hope
great.
that can he tag all of us? Because I know we're going to be in the video. He was definitely chucking lots of some sort of product.
Peanut
at
brittle.
us.
It's locally produced peanut brittle.
Yeah.
It's very good, very tasty.
Here, throw one at Carm.
Let's do a little
do the blue
guerrilla
act.
marketing here.
Blue act.
Oh God.
Keep on coming.
It's the fudge like brittle.
Oh gosh.
This is literally what was happening
Settle
as
down,
we were
Blue.
trying to work. Okay, we're trying to talk to quarterbacks. Will Levis is 5 feet away having a press conference, and the horse is chucking these at my head.
Yeah, but okay. So you missed out on you might have missed out on Will Levis talking about the origins of his mayo coffee. Or
the one guy trying to ask if he met with the Raiders for 20 straight minutes.
My favorite, I just want one of these quarterbacks to get asked, did you meet with the so-and-so? Did you meet with the Buccaneers? Yeah, I did. Could you envision yourself playing for the Buccaneers? No, they're a terrible franchise.
Right.
I hate them.
Just do it.
I grew up a Saints fan. I would never play for them.
It's such a waste of time.
I just want someone to do that so we can maybe stop this charade of asking about, did you meet with this team, and could you envision yourself playing for them?
Do you like the Broncos?
Also, just do your job better. There's ways to ask a question in which you're going to find out in the answer whether or not they've talked to the team.
Kevin Fishbane did a very good job of that. I'll give him some credit.
Well, because Kevin Fishbane is a professional.
Well, he is a professional.
He's a great man, and I haven't seen him all morning. Did he leave?
Yeah, he left.
Is he okay?
He was here early.
He was here early. Were you here early?
No.
Hollywood.
I was definitely not.
Late nights here.
You know.
Hoge was making major moves deep into the night.
I was, and, it just did not seem like I needed to come talk to a bunch of quarterbacks. The Bears are not drafting.
Oh, here it comes.
What about JSN?
Now all of us grinding and getting out the door at 7 just did it for nothing. JJ, do you think the Bears and the Colts are trading together? What do you think?
Right now, I'm going to say no. I think it's too early to tell. If you listen to what Chris Ballard had to say on Wednesday, he doesn't necessarily believe you have to go to one to get the guy. And here's the thing with Chris Ballard that I have learned over the years is that he has such a good feel for when he needs to get aggressive in the draft and when he can stand pat and when he can trade back and get the guy he wants. Last year, Alec Pierce was sticking out on the Colts draft board. Colts are picking 42nd. They traded back to 53rd, still got Alec Pierce. And that was with teams ahead of them needing wide receivers, the Bears included. Pittsburgh drafted George Pickens. And at that point, I was like, all right, we're getting our guy. And I think he and the Colts knew we could trade back and still get him. Now, the stakes are obviously a lot higher. When you're talking about a quarterback, you're talking about the top 5 in the draft. But this is not like fait accompli that the Colts and Bears are going to make a trade. It's possible, but it's not inevitable. And I think I've seen a lot of folks treat it as an inevitability, which is a hard thing to say, in the course of this process.
Here's where you're wrong, though. Do we have that video?
Oh,
yes.
We've got the video. Now, here's the one thing is I don't know if JJ's going to be able to hear this because it's coming out of my machine, and this is a
Well, do what you did earlier.
I can watch it on
No, I can't
Hope's
because
computer. Maybe.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Just fire it.
We'll
figure it out.
If you have it up there, you can sort of
see-
watch
you can
along.
see
We'll
what
give them the
happens.
play-by-play, but the reality is the trade already happened this morning.
Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
You gonna make a deal with the Bears?
That was one of the main goals.
You want that number 1 pick, Blue?
Yeah, got it done.
Come on, Blue. Come on up and get that QB, Blue. You want that, Blue? Oh.
K. McIntosh.
Okay.
Been playing in the league with him since.
Is this the video of you?
Yeah.
I think so. That was it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have seen
Everyone heard
it.
I'm pretty sure everyone heard it.
That didn't move the needle for you?
Yeah.
We're just delayed here.
Look,
we're watching it because we're.
If you're making a trade with Blue and you don't get pied in the face, it's not consummated. So it doesn't count.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Doesn't count.
Yeah.
No deal.
But
No, not a thing.
Would you say that? Will Chris Ballard say things to the media that he wants to kind of position, or do you think he's just being spot on honest? Like, hey, I don't have like just what he said that you're mentioning. Do you think he tries to manipulate?
Isn't that what every general manager is doing right now? So I said this.
That's a fair look by you. But JJ was just saying that like this is what he said. So I'm wondering the other side.
Here's the thing. What Chris Ballard said. It's sort of like a Rorschach test of like. If you came into that press conference believing Colts are going to trade up, you could find some things that would lead you to believe they're going to trade up. If you came into that press conference believing they're not going to trade up, you could find some things in that press conference that would lead you to believe they're not going to trade up. That is what general managers are striving to do in their press conferences is not close any doors, leave every avenue open, leave every option open, and not tip your hand.
JJ, does Chris strike you as a guy that will look at these guys throwing later today? Let's say to Levis or somebody is like, okay, maybe I need to reconsider everything I was just talking about, not having to move to the number 1 pick to go get a guy. Does he strike you as a guy that would be?
He knows what he wants.
Chris
now.
Ballard said on Wednesday, he was asked about that, and he said, like, it's all on tape. The tape is everything. The thing he did say he's watching is the press conferences that we all attended. Okay. So he's watching for how these guys handle the questions they're being asked. He's probably watching for, when you get asked about a deficiency in your game, what's your answer? How do you handle it? Who do you assign blame to in that? Do you put it on yourself? Do you put it on someone else? I think that is something that you're looking for in these press conferences. And, I think all the quarterbacks probably struck the right notes. From what I saw and I heard, I didn't see any quarterbacks being like, well, my coaches sucked. But, I think those things do matter when it comes to you're the leader of the team. You are all the pressure is on you as the franchise quarterback. And you got to, even if you are not the reason why you lost the game, you usually have to shoulder the blame. And your guy, Justin Fields, seems to do a pretty good job of that, by the way. He seems to take a lot of accountability in those press conferences.
He does, and he can be a little hit or miss on, like, how much he necessarily wants to talk in one press conference 1 week to the next. But in terms of what you're saying, the stuff that probably resonates a little bit more in the locker room with the team.
Because you're not just talking to the media and helping us do our jobs. You're talking to the 53 guys in the locker room, your coaching staff. They all see that stuff and they pay attention to it.
Yeah, Ballard. I think it was Ballard the other day. He had a quote that I'm definitely going to mess up, but it was essentially like the tape tells you if you're a good player, and then like everything else, it's like almost like the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like you the point just being what you said. Like you gotta rely on the tape to really determine if the guy can play, and then all that extra stuff that happens here at the combine is really just like it matters, but it's
you're filling out the profile.
Yeah,
you know the tape is such a significant percentage of the evaluation, but it's not all of it.
Right, you can't just be blown away by like Will Anderson having a great meeting with you. If there's not that that's a great example because his tape's obviously really good, but like the tape still has to be the focal point.
Right, you're still filling in the 5-10%, whatever percentage it is. You're still filling that in because all these guys here, you can find it. We were talking to Daniel Jeremiah on the Colts Audio Network, and he said you turn on the Utah tape, you're going to say Anthony Richardson's the number 1 overall pick, and it's not even close. And, for Will Levis, you turn on a couple of his games, same thing. But you turn on other games, and you're like, this guy's a 2nd or 3rd round pick. That's the grade you have on him. So all these guys have good tape. What is the separating factor? What's that edge? That's something that Shane Steichen talked about, that the Colts have to go through the vetting process and find out what is the thing that separates this guy from that guy? What is that little edge that might lead you to say, all right, that's the guy at the top of our board?
Do you have any sense, just listening, gut feeling as to who they like?
Not yet. It's so, I think every team right now, your board is anchored, right? So you don't have wild swings that happen from combine evaluations. But the pro days are still important. That is an important aspect. The top 30 visits, those are an important aspect of it. And this is why I just, maybe, I never say never, but I just don't think anything's imminent if the Colts were to make a trade up, because there still is such a significant part of the evaluation to be done. I mean, let's not forget, it's March, 3rd, 4th? Shane Steichen was hired 2.5 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's been putting a coaching staff together and figuring out where to go in the building, not necessarily spending a ton of time on the quarterbacks, because, by the way, free agency starts in a week. So if you want to, if you're going to say we're trading up for our guy, it's still a little early. Shane Steichen, you want him to be involved in this process. He will be involved in this process. And I just don't get the sense that the Colts are there yet. And that's something that Chris Ballard said, and I do believe he was being honest about yesterday.
JJ, as it should be, everything's about the Colts and figuring out which quarterback's going to be their next franchise guy. But what else do the Colts need right now? What else are some underlying topics that are not being discussed with the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, I think, Nicholas, the big thing, the Colts need a lot of players. I don't think there are specific positions that I would point to and say, you know what, if they keep the 2nd round pick, they got to go get this guy at that spot. I think those are where you fill through free agency. Maybe that's a right guard, a spot that the Colts need a little bit of boost there. Maybe it's depth at edge rusher, depending on Unique Ngakoue, if he comes back or not. You always need more cornerback depth. You can never have too many of those guys. Wide receiver depth, same thing. Might need some juice there. Could be Paris Campbell, could be someone else. But this is a team that you need, when you go 4-12-1, you need players. And the talent is there. There are talented guys in this team. Quentin Nelson, Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, who's awesome. Zaire Franklin set a franchise record in tackles this year. Shaq Leonard hopefully coming back. There are guys on this team that are very good players, but you need to still build around them and recognize that, yeah, there's a 4-12-1 team. You got to kind of put everything on the table, which is to say, if the Colts go and they draft someone at a certain position at 35 and you're like, well, that's not a big need, if you project that guy to be a good contributor on this team, again, you kind of have to put everything on the table and you have a season like the Colts had in 2022.
Do you think sometimes when you have a team like that has so many needs but also has some talented players, they get put in a position where maybe it makes sense to trade one of those players to get more picks? Is there
Buckner?
Nope.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is there, to me, I go, why in the hell would you trade that guy?
Right.
But so what would be the motivation from the Indianapolis side to make that type of deal?
Yeah, I think it would be
other than to go up and get their quarterback, maybe,
right?
But still,
I think if you're looking at it with the contracts that the Colts have on the books, and maybe thinking it's more valuable to move one of those guys and keep the 35th overall pick, then you might go down that road. But a lot of those guys who I know, I've been getting in my mentions from Bears fans, the Colts really like those guys. They are core foundational pieces, either on defense or on offense. And trading them when you're trying to bring in a rookie quarterback, you would be trading a great leader on your team or a great offensive weapon or a great offensive lineman. Doesn't make a lot of sense when you're trying to restart with that rookie quarterback. You want those guys on your team when you have that young quarterback.
Bobby Okereke, though, doesn't
Okereke.
I heard him say it.
This is the
I'm sure you're right.
Voice of Lucas Oil Stadium here.
Carrot cake.
Carrot.
Say it again
No.
one more time.
Bobby Okereke.
Okereke.
Now do it in your PA voice.
Bobby Okereke.
Hey, that's amazing.
There we go.
That is
Love
amazing. I just I love PA.
I hope all of our
I love
over there.
I swear on my life, I heard him call himself Okereke.
He did. Okay. The backstory on it, you can read about it on Colts.com if it were to get to that point. where you cared enough.
I care.
I'm going to Colts.
So Bobby Okereke, his parents were immigrants from Nigeria.
Right.
And his dad came over, went to college here, and when he got to America, they said, your name's Bobby Okereke. Or not Okereke. His name wasn't Bobby, but your last name's Okereke. And he said, okay, yep, whatever you want. I just want to assimilate into this culture. And they went by Okereke. Like, literally, we did a piece, Colts Life, this great series we do on Colts.com, where our production crew went to his home in California, and everyone in the town calls them the Okerekes. But Bobby decided before the 2021 season that, no, listen, I'm of Nigerian descent. This is how it's pronounced. Get it right. And I admired him so much for being the one to say, hey, look, it's pronounced Okereke. Okereke. It was pronounced Okereke. It's pronounced Okereke. And it was a really interesting story just about, like, the immigrant mentality that his dad had. And he was like, I don't blame my dad at all. He wanted to assimilate, but he's like, I feel like I'm in a position where I can say, this is how my name is pronounced.
I like it. So this is I missed that part, but I had the part of, like, you watch him talk about himself and his family in the piece that I saw where he was saying it the old way.
Yeah.
He's incredibly likable.
Oh, yeah.
You want that dude, you want that dude in your locker room. And it seems like he probably is available.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to have him back just because he's a good player and a good guy. But the Colts have Shaquille Leonard on a contract extension. They have Zaire Franklin on a contract extension. Those are two really good linebackers who are making money. Pretty decent amount of money for two off-ball linebackers. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense for you to play a third, especially when you're in sub-packages 80% of the time in Gus Bradley's defense, or you got a nickel on the field. So, Bobby Okereke, if he winds up in Chicago with you guys, you're going to like him a lot. He's a good player.
And he's tied, has the Flus tie, so.
Yep. And he can play the will or the Mike. He's got flexibility there. He's played both. He had 150-something tackles this year. Productive against the pass. Go watch his Raiders tape from the game this year. The last 3 plays of the game were phenomenal, the work that he did.
He's got some good tape.
What about
good tape, Hoge?
Real quickly, JJ, Yannick Ngakoue. How is he, I guess, at the end of the season, I think he had a pretty good stretch of games, but is that somebody that would be an immediate upgrade for the Bears, or just how do you view him in his time with the Colts?
Yeah, Yannick had a pretty solid season. 9.5 sacks. He's one of 5 players in NFL history to have 8 or more sacks in each of his first 7 seasons in the NFL, and the list is nuts. It's Reggie White, Derek Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Aaron Donald, and Yannick Ngakoue.
Okay,
what a list.
Which means why have you been on 5 teams or whatever it is?
That's fair.
And the criticism is his ability to stop the run, right?
Right. But if you need a guy who's going to get after the passer, he can do that.
The Bears need that.
They need that.
Now, and I think the Colts will explore the possibility of keeping him around. He's a Gus Bradley guy. He came up with Gus with the Jaguars, got reunited with him with the Raiders in 2021, then comes over here in 2022 in a trade. Fits that kind of wide 9 edge rusher in Gus Bradley's scheme.
Take us inside Lucas Oil Stadium in Week 18.
What do you want to know?
Just what was that like?
Well, I can tell you this much. I know of one fan that was devastated by the outcome of that. And that would be our friend Rich Campbell's son, Wells, who I got him tickets to the game. It was Wells' first game. He's 5. And, boy, he wanted the Colts to win that game, and he was crushed. So, sorry, Wells.
Way to go, Lovie Smith.
There was another fan that was crushed at that game.
Yes.
But also, okay, so let me take you inside the locker room after that game. Every player in there was pissed off that the Colts lost that game.
Yeah.
No one wanted to end the season on a loss. No one was okay with it. Rodney Thomas, the 7th-round safety, who had a phenomenal season, 4 interceptions. He led the team, number 239 overall pick. He started 10, 15 games for the Colts last year. Really good player. He's close friends with Damar Hamlin from growing up. This is the week after, everything happened with Damar. Rodney Thomas had an interception in that Week 18 game. He did the Damar Hamlin heart celebration.
Yes.
Incredible. And then at the end of the game, he didn't get his hand on that pass that got Houston the game-winning touchdown. And after the game, I went up to him, and I'm thinking, all right, everyone's bummed out that we lost, but hey, here's a really nice story. And he had no interest in talking about his interception. He was so mad.
Yeah.
He was so mad about that. You know this, Hoge, from covering Bears teams that have been picking in the top 3 or top 5. players don't care.
No, that
They
happened
don't-
this year.
Of course not.
They're trying to win.
They don't care because also their jobs are on the line, and the high draft picks that are going to be coming in are going to go take their jobs.
Exactly.
Right.
So they don't care. I think like we're fans, sort of like, oh yeah, this is great. We got a higher pick, yeah, maybe, but also in that moment, like you did just see your team lose. That's not a fun thing. That stinks.
It was just such a wild game for like.
Greatest moment of
For
Bear
just
history.
being honest, was one of the worst matchups of the week, right? And like nobody cared about that game in the NFL except for obviously the two teams playing in it, and then Bears fans, right? And it was like we're covering the Bears game that's happening simultaneously, but we're really watching Colts Texans because Tim Boyle was playing.
Tim Boyle was the quarterback in that last.
Or
What
Tim.
felt like a preseason.
That's going to be a good
Yeah.
Sporkle question.
Yeah,
Like Bears starting quarterbacks, and you're going to put Tim Boyle on it and get it right.
But before JJ goes, and I know we're coming up on a bunch of stuff that we got to get to and get out here and all that. When they hired Matt Eberflus, what was your thought process on the Bears' choice, and what's a year later? Has that changed at all?
Good. I mean, first, good for the Bears. I think Matt Eberflus brings that kind of accountability. Then again, I didn't cover him this year, so this is just my perspective on it. But he was a guy who players really gravitated to because he could be accountable, he could be firm on them, but he also he knew when to push the buttons and when to not push the buttons. Defensively, I think he's very flexible in what he can do. I was really impressed with all the different coverages that the Colts would run on the back end, some of the different assignments that they would have their guys doing. And yeah, he's a good guy. I like him. I'm happy for him. I hope it works out in Chicago. I hope that you guys have some wins to talk about this year. And, things with Justin Fields go pretty well. We're not playing you guys this year, so, hey, go Bears, I guess.
Is quirky a word you would use to describe the Flus?
I don't know about quirky. He's just very football-oriented,
Football
Football.
guy. He's a football
He's
guy.
a football guy.
we have a thing we call the Flusosophy on this show.
I'm still trying to figure out the Flus, JJ. He's a guarded Flus. He is.
Hey, maybe the Colts and Bears will practice against each other in the preseason.
Flus
I'd
is
like
not
that.
Loose.
Let's just
I'd like to see you guys again.
look. We're making
Yeah.
deals today with the Colts. Let's just you and I figure this out now. We'll set it up.
All right.
And then the teams, you have that power in the organization.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, I could totally, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah.
Before you say goodbye to JJ, I just got to tell you, he is such an absolute pro that he just found his single shot, and he has been talking right to the camera when I've been cutting to it. I mean, it's awesome.
It's all that time on Sports Talk Live.
Yeah.
There it
Where
is.
we got David Kaplan sitting here yelling
Yeah.
about something, and I'm just
You are. It's awesome.
Take
I mean,
that.
I don't even. I
Take
don't have a
that.
stage manager here, so there's no one to point to that. So I mean, you're awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Shout
Appreciate
out.
that.
Shout out.
And also now I'm looking at Greg Braggs behind the camera, and it's a lovely, lovely sight.
Am I the only one reading that compliment to JJ as a slight at us for not looking at the camera? Because that is definitely how I took that.
You don't need to look at the camera. The camera finds you, Hollywood.
Oh, you're good. You're good at that too.
Okay. Okay, good.
All right.
All right. JJ, we miss you in Chicago, but
Phenomenal performance.
We
Jesus.
are so happy for your success in Indy.
Just killing it.
And one of the wildest but coolest stories about how you became the PA guy this year, too.
Yeah.
Like,
That's pretty cool.
sort of last, for those that don't know, he does the PA in the stadium for the Colts home games, doubles up. I respect guys that have multiple jobs.
I am jealous of everyone in this business that has success, but I'm extremely jealous of public address announcers and play-by-play people.
It's
Public
pretty
address
fun.
is so fun.
It's so much
third. And come on.
No.
No?
You want me to do it
Yeah,
before
do
I
it,
go?
please.
He's
do
got
it.
a great third down call.
It's third down.
That's great.
I mean, you get so geeked doing it. It's so fun. Love it, man. That's so
appreciate
good.
you guys.
That's awesome.
JJ,
Thanks for letting me let the bells rumble there.
That energy is right along the lines of the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
Look at that
Come on.
professionalism. Wow.
ComEd committed to helping families and businesses in the communities that we serve to save money and energy. ComEd offers the free facility assessment that can help find energy-saving opportunities, lighting, HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, industrial processes, everybody's favorite. Also, listen, within 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to get a report detailing the energy efficiency projects that they can start working on to immediately make you save more money. And, yes, you're also giving back because there will be more. It'll be a more energy efficient world that you are contributing to. So don't wait. Start saving that money and that energy today. For energy saving tips and to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz, or you could send them an email at business@ComEd.com. Business at ComEd.com. ComEd.com/facility assessment.
Just check it.
Would you like that add-on?
A fourth person at this point, or should I change cameras?
You're going to go into a Brad Spielberger.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk to Brad, and then
Should I
you're
run the
going
rundown?
and then you're going to segue to a 4-person, and Will is jumping in, and Carm is jumping out, and Braggs is jumping in, and Nick is staying.
This is going to be exciting.
Forever.
All right, so we got one more read, and then we'll go to the Brad.
Yes, we do, because we know and love DraftKings so well.
We
the
do.
official
DraftKings.
betting partner of CHGO and All City.
I'd like to make a bet on DraftKings right now that the floods will avoid us on the way home. No floods on the way home, DraftKings.
Over under.
I was going to say that's a bad bet.
No
if you
floods.
Just pull up the radar.
DraftKings.
Unless the radar's completely lying to us. Hey, we got NBA no-sweat same-game parlays. Any gut feel? Bulls play Durant tonight, right?
Yes, that's
why
why
we're
happening?
over. I've already
Yeah,
got
well,
money.
Oh,
on
that's. I'm
Katie's
going to make that
over.
right now.
CHGO PHNX rivalry tonight.
trying to go to the game. Let's move the show along.
Is that why you're so antsy about getting
that's
home?
part of it,
Are
yes.
you kidding me?
Bulls Suns, baby, let's go.
What time does that game
Do you
start?
realize what traffic's going to be like to get there?
I don't need your
This is-
negative energy on
No,
traffic.
it's not negative energy. It's called math
Reality.
and time.
I don't need your reality on
There's
traffic.
no chance you're going to that game tonight.
Ah,
think-
well,
yes,
the-
there
the
is.
Well, you're
storm
definitely
is,
not going to that game if you're in my car.
Definitely going to be.
Just keep reading the DraftKings. Let's go.
So maybe will Carm go to the game tonight? Odds on.
Might-
DraftKings are plus 3,000.
Might Uber it.
Download the app. Uber. Download the app now and sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right. A little bit earlier this morning, friend of the show, great capologist and smart football mind, Brad Spielberger. We've been seeing him all week. We've been trying to... Well, not trying. We just were trying to find the right time to bring him on the show. And that time is now as we talk free agency and a little bit of...
$200 Uber. Gets me there by 5:11.
You guys hear this?
Yeah, that's
Is that rain?
Yeah.
Is that rain or worse?
Well,
Wow.
Doesn't sound...
We are,
Seriously,
we
might
are,
go Uber X Saver right now and say goodbye to you guys. Have a great...
We are stuck here.
Okay, let's go to the interview, and hopefully we're back when this interview's over. Here's Brad Spielberger. All right, I think this is becoming a new regular segment, Fridays with Brad.
About damn time we did something right around here.
I missed the last one, though, because he was on a couple weeks ago on CHGO, and I wasn't there. So we're bringing Brad back in. Brad Spielberger, the salary cap analyst for PFF. What's up, man? Thanks for jumping on with us.
Yeah, doing well. The voice is mostly here, so
Yeah.
Brad's been burning the midnight oil. Let's not lie to anybody out here.
we're all working, okay? It's
Yeah,
all
okay.
right.
Takes two to tango. You see me because I see you. You know.
It's a great point. If you saw him, you were there.
The only time I was working yesterday was when I went to the Lucas Oil to watch the NFL Combine. That was work.
And fell asleep.
Needed a nap. It's the most peaceful place I've been all week. That was more quiet than any library I've ever been in.
It was a weird
The
experience.
people that hate me out there on Twitter because I don't respect or something, trust me, that is not what you want to do for your sporting events. That's not it. I'm just telling you. 6th grade hoop, I'm in. Go ahead.
Brad, thanks for jumping on with us. Got a lot to get to. I know one thing you want to talk about with draft related before we get into some free agency stuff is just the fallout with Jalen Carter, which has been a hot topic all week, not only around here in Indy but also on our show. Just what is your because meanwhile I feel like Will Anderson's having a great week.
No doubt.
He's had everyone's raving about his character, his interviews. He was impressive with the media. When the graphic went up yesterday on NFL Network, like comparing his measurables at his 40 time to Khalil Mack, I was like, Okay, I think I'm done complaining about how he might not be a 4-3 defensive end because I'm kind of over that now.
Are you? I get a little nervous about the old switcheroo here that he can do it.
We have him on our site as 242, I think it is, and he tested at 253 yesterday, which I think it's a big 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, I think it does matter. We're now, look, he played 4-eye at Alabama. They moved him around a little bit, so now I do think he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you see like he's basically the same size as Khalil Mack, ran the same numbers, like all right, and his tape's really good. He also played inside a lot at Alabama.
A ton, and it was him, DeMarcus Ware and Khalil Mack. He was like measuring up right with those guys, so I think he can make it work.
So, but there's rumors going around the Cardinals might be very aggressively wanting to trade out, which I saw Johnny was tweeting this morning or retweeting, whatever was going on. I saw it, and of course, the Bears very well may move. If that's the case, I mean, do you think everyone's coming up to get quarterbacks?
100%. And I have heard earlier this week that 3 could almost be a thorn in the Bears' side a little bit because if they move and teams don't think they need to jump Houston at 2, maybe, the Las Vegas, Carolina, Tennessees of the world, they view 3 as that target. That is an interesting component going on here as well.
So you're saying because they wouldn't
need to get all the way
They're
up.
not worried about Houston because Houston's not taking a quarterback or because their guy will still be there at 3?
Not taking their quarterback, right?
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
this is one of those years where every team's going to have one guy that they prefer. And I think it sounds like everyone thinks Houston's is Bryce Young. And I think Carolina maybe is a C.J. Stroud team. Maybe some teams are Will Levis teams. Anthony Richardson obviously now getting to that top 10 picture. So I think that's what it's about.
Interesting. You know what? If I told you right now that that's how it played out and the Bears had to take Will Anderson number 1 overall, are you disappointed or is it?
Yes.
I know it's not great, but you're still getting, I think, a really good player.
Yeah, I think you look at the vacuum of like what it could have been, you'd be upset, but also they shouldn't have this pick. I mean, thank you, Lovie Smith. Thank you, Davis Mills. 4th and 20. So no, I hear you. It'd be great to get a trade down package, get a bunch of extra picks as well, but not the worst consolation prize.
All right. I have a lot of free agency questions, and one of the things that I don't know if I just kind of realized it this week or I've had some conversations with people that have kind of brought this up to me, and it's like, okay, you have all this salary cap space. It's a great situation to be in. Then you look at like the list of free agents though, and it's not. I mean, there are some guys I'd like, but the point being, I don't know if the talent matches the space that they actually have to use. The money they literally have to spend to get to a floor. Where do you fall on that, and where does Ryan Poles need to be careful that he doesn't overspend just because he has to?
No, it is tough. It's not a great class. Obviously, working on that and looking through positional values, and it's like some of the spots that are good also maybe aren't like high spend positions. Running back, linebacker, a lot of talent there. Are they trying to spend a ton of money? We kind of already know they don't want to spend money at those spots. I will say one thing I've seen a ton of pushback on is they can't go after older players. Probably the big name Javon Hargrave. I think you can look at we're spending this offseason maybe just for the rest of Justin Fields' rookie contract window. We're not trying to find 5-6 year solutions. We're trying to find 2-3 year solutions and then go from there. So that I think maybe is one smart way to do it. And then I would just say adding depth, adding rotational pieces, addressing maybe like Ethan Pochich at center from Cleveland, just finding more like mid-tier guys, maybe a lot of mid-tier guys.
Philly's got a ton of decisions to make. Let's just say that Hargrave becomes available. What do you think his number's at? Where are you paying him?
It's a lot. I can tell you it's a lot. I know, obviously Deron Payne gets the franchise tag, and we're going to see this market explosion from the 2019 draft class with Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, Dexter Lawrence. Like, all those deals are going to influence this market. I know Chris Jones, going into last year of his deal, said he wants to become the second highest paid interior defender behind Aaron Donald.
$25 million a year.
And
no way is a team giving him that, but maybe I don't think so. But.
Right, no, yeah. So I think Hargrave is like 19 million per year is a realistic number for him. Going to be 30 next year, but a very, very good player, a very good pass rusher in particular. There's going to be a lot of bidders for his services.
Would you do that? By the way, I'm sorry. 20. Would you do that if he's there? $20 million. 3-year deal.
I would do like 18.5, 19 if I could. I mean, if it gets to 20, maybe you have to pull the trigger. I wouldn't love it, but they got to spend.
Does the Jalen Carter situation change your view on paying any of these free agents that are available?
Right, to a degree. I think those guys could have fit next to each other. Hargrave's a little bit undersized. They could have fit, I think, both can play 1-tech and 3-tech, all those things. But, yeah, I mean, we saw last year, too, when they, missed out on Larry Ogunjobi or the failed physical and they pivot quickly to Justin Jones. Like, they felt they had to do something. Maybe, if Jalen Carter was part of their plans, they feel like they have to do something, and maybe that is a big spend spot.
I'm a don't pay running backs big money guy. Is there any chance Saquon Barkley is an exception? Because it's not just – I don't mean exception to anyone giving them that money, but specifically for the Bears and the situation they're in right now where they they have to spend money, you might as well spend it on a premier player because you don't have a lot of those guys.
I think, yeah, to a degree, not only his type of player, if you're going to spend it running back, he better be able to catch the ball, and he can do that. Should be able to pass protect. Was actually our highest graded pass protector as a running back this past year. So, yeah, and then, yeah, right, we have so much money to spend. You literally have to spend it. There's the cash floor that they have to, do some spending to get to. That would be the one time where maybe it does make some sense.
Doing all the work you do, Brett, what would you tell the Giants to do with their situation, QB running back?
I would tag Daniel Jones and try to work something out with Saquon Barkley. If you can't get there, then maybe let him hit the market and maybe even see if the market's not as hot as he thinks it's going to be. I mean, it is a flooded group there, and the draft is also a great draft class. So, yeah, it's just them trying to get a deal done with Daniel Jones before this March 7th deadline with the next 5 days. He hired his agent like a week ago. Like, are they going to negotiate a 9-figure deal in 2 weeks? It sounds like it's possible, but that seems a little crazy to me.
That scares me. I tag them, make them do it again. To me, like it.
Here's your $32 million. Go get them, Daniel. We'll pay you if you do it. I'm with you.
Yeah, does that make sense? That's just too scary for me to give him all that money.
I totally agree. And you get some receivers. He has some excuses, or not excuses, but they didn't really have a lot of guys to throw to last year. So, hey, we're going to get you some guys, bring in DeAndre Hopkins, get some picks over to Arizona, and then, hey, prove it, do better, and then we'll give you that $40-45 million you're looking for.
Just, I mean, look at some of these quarterback contracts recently. The teams are already like, okay, it's a problem. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, PHNX. What a terrible organization you guys have to talk about.
Obviously, Deshaun Watson.
Whoa.
Right, not PHNX. Nice. It's not their fault the Cardinals are
Mark Carman
scuffling.
has gotten – Carman every day this week has gotten more and more aggressive. I think it's the lack of sleep.
And more disliked. It's just it's mounting. That's fine. But to your point there, maybe they do that, and then Saquon comes to the Bears, or is he available to be talked about. I'd be excited about it. That dude would be sweet to watch every Sunday. Come on.
No, for sure. And when you don't have weapons and need to just add anyone you can get, and you're not going to get a premier player, there's no wide receivers that really make a meaningful difference. The tight end class is some guys, but no one that jumps off the page. Yeah, like you said, is it maybe a potential exception? You can make that argument.
What happens with Orlando Brown?
I think he'll get franchise tagged again in Kansas City. It's right under $20 million, and I think they'll try to work something out. But unless he takes a deal where it's a lot of funny money on the back end, I just still don't think he's proven he's a elite left tackle. I think he's a good left tackle, and I just don't think Kansas City wants to pay him as if he's an elite left tackle, and that's what he wants.
So if he did hit the open market, which doesn't sound like it would, but would you be hesitant then if you're the Bears to give him that money?
Yeah, no, I would not enter that conversation. But because I like Braxton Jones, think he's a good young player, but also, yeah, that's like your classic, in my opinion, overpay, because teams will bid on that. It's a left tackle. They don't hit the market that often, and someone would give him $23-24 million a year at that point, and I do not think it would age well.
So I asked Adam this yesterday. I'm going to ask you, Brad. Let's say the Colts they got to get their guy, make a phenomenal deal with the Bears. The Bears are sitting at 4. They don't have a great trade back partner. Who are you taking it for?
If Will Anderson's there, is this the hypothetical?
Will Anderson's not there.
Then I think you take Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech edge rusher. He is, and he did his wingspan on the podium. His wingspan is 1 inch shorter than Giannis Antetokounmpo. So
wow.
The guy's long, and he's a good fit. 275 pounds, ran pretty well, or didn't run yesterday. He's coming off an injury, but yeah, he's actually more kind of a fit in that mold like we're talking about. Like he quote unquote fits in the Eberflus 4-3. He has the measurables that fit in that system.
All right, let me fire some free agents at you, just like kind of rapid fire. You tell me if you think they're fit for the Bears. Tremaine Edmonds.
No, and he's going to get $19-20 million a year.
Just wrong defense?
Yes. Well, and he's being a 4-3, so I think he fits the scheme. Yeah. But if they're not going to pay Roquan, there's no reason to turn around and pay Tremaine.
Okay.
Right?
So how do they handle the linebacker situation?
I think Bobby Okereke, obviously the connection to Eberflus. I think it's very possible he's a Chicago Bear.
Okay. What about T.J. Edwards, our guy?
Yeah, could be a good fit. I think his market's going to be fascinating. I'm sure he's looking for kind of like a Foyer Luakun type deal, 13, 14, 15 a year. But that linebacker position, again, you go to free agency, and then if he gets like 7, I wouldn't even be surprised. It's such a wide range with those guys.
Which wide receiver would you – I mean, I like Jacoby Myers, but just like none of these guys are really doing what the Bears need, which is to push everyone down – to like where they should be. I've made this argument before. I don't think the Bears are that far away actually from having a decent wide receiver room. They just need the guy at the top to make Darnell Mooney a 2, to make Claypool not so important for as the guy they're trying to make a one. I mean, how would you handle that?
No, I totally agree, right? It's like even you look at Philadelphia last year, it wasn't just bringing in A.J. Brown. It was making Devontae Smith one of the best number 2s in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
There's all those knockdown effects. So, yeah, look, I do think Jacoby Myers is the best guy in the class, but again, he's going to get a nice deal because of that. A good contested catch guy, good in the slot, can play a little bit outside, but I don't think he's doing that, right? I think he's in the same conversation as Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool, and then you have a bunch of, mid-tier guys that are all, potentially making money in the near future. Maybe Paris Campbell with, again, the Colts connection, not trying to, hit that connection a ton, but I also think, day 2, if there's a guy you like, I think you do pull the trigger there.
Would you trade for Hopkins?
No, if he wants a new contract, which it sounds like he does, no. If he's willing to play on, he has 2 years, about $34 million left, I'll pay that.
Yeah, because I still think he accomplishes what you need. Even if he doesn't catch 80 passes, I still think does what we were just talking about.
No, he's that guy.
Yeah,
he's that guy. Or then you free things up for everybody else.
Brad Spielberger, Pro Football Focus. How long have you been working with NFL teams now?
About 2.5 years.
Okay. Is anything noticeably changed in what they want from you that could be interesting to somebody out there?
I think it's more a lot of teams are catching up. Look, I won't get into the specifics. I will say this new regime is a little bit more into the data and into some things than the old one, at least from my perception, which is, of course, great news. They recently, Ryan Poles poached a guy from Kansas City, Kriti Chandrasekhan, an analytics guy. Again, we don't always – analytics doesn't solve everything, but it's –
so impressed with the pronunciation.
That was quick, dude. Rolled it right off the tongue.
You got to have some different minds, different thought processes in the building. I think they're trying to do that.
Most interesting conversation you've had this week that you're willing to share with us?
You don't remember our conversation at Prime?
That was big. That was big. I was, okay.
That's a good answer. That was a great answer.
Second most, Brad. Second. I appreciate that.
That's a good question. I mean, like on the record or off the record, most interesting conversation.
Maybe just most interesting nugget you can share with us, maybe.
Sure.
That you can.
No pressure, Brad.
No, I'll say this. It's just kind of a guy that you continue to hear about that I think is going to sign that deal that maybe wows some people. It's Jawan Taylor, the Jaguars tackle. I'm not sure if he's a Bears fit, and not a great athlete in space, but a phenomenal pass protector. Everyone's saying, like, this kid could be top 5 at the right tackle market, and coming into it, I don't think anyone was talking about that, and you're hearing his name over and over and over again.
See, to me, that's smart money. Because he's still, 25?
25 versus 28 for,
He's 25. You don't have a right tackle right now. If I'm in Ryan Poles' situation and I have to spend money and take a couple of risks, that's where I want to. I'd rather spend it there than on somebody who's about to turn 30.
Right, which is McGlinchey and McGarry, are in that, or are those guys that are about to be 29 years old. Yeah, I'm with you there.
All right.
He's not getting tagged?
So Evan Ingram has to have the tag, in Jacksonville. Doesn't have to, but they've decided he's the guy they're going to potentially tag. So, only one per team, so he's going to hit the market, which is great for him.
Okay.
It's good news.
That is good news.
Jake Flanagan really likes.
I like playmakers, but that's if you guys want to live in logical reality street, that feels like we're driving right down it right now. So I feel you.
Got anything else?
No, but I am now thinking back to the great conversation that Brad and I had in the bathroom last night, which was looking forward to talking tomorrow. Like, I work with Adam Hoge. He's like, oh yeah, so
it's funny. The one funny thing is about the combines, you see like the same people every night. You have a lot of fun conversations, and I feel like we've been talking about having this conversation actually with microphones all week. I'm glad we finally did it.
Brad's the man. If you're not following, I'm sure you are already, but if you're not, then get her done. And we appreciate your time as always.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
At PFF_Brad. Really the best time of year to be following them. You should always be following them year round, but if you're not already, get on there, get all this information because it's coming out fast. And it's going to be a crazy next couple weeks.
I talked to the Colts mascot. He says that they are trading with the Bears. You should know that, Brad. I don't know what you can do with that information, but,
Blue nose.
Blue nose. That dude was hanging out treats. Greg Braggs took like 7 of them home.
By handing them out, he was throwing them. He was chucking at people's heads. All right. Thanks,
I don't know why we brought that up. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, guys.
There is Brad Spielberger. Great stuff with him, and I'm just noticing, looking at the feed, how we're really well color coordinated with the backdrop. Everybody's wearing black or white, including him.
That's nice.
Great. It's a combination of black and white, of course.
Great job.
Yeah, it looks good for All City. We have kicked Mark Carman out.
Thank gosh.
He's currently in an Uber to the Bulls game, apparently. Good luck. Could you ever think there's not a single Uber driver in the world that would make that drive right now?
Who would? I don't
in the
understand
storm.
Why anyone would do that.
By the way, as we went to that interview, I doubt it went through our microphones, but I mean, that sounded like straight hail.
It kind of sounds like
loud.
it stopped now, but it was intense for a good 30 seconds.
Just like camping.
Yes.
intense.
Oh.
See, they just say, "Oh," and I laugh. I love it. I love
you, Will, because you're right here with me.
I flew right over my head.
I did not get that.
We've got Greg Braggs Jr. on set now. Thanks for introducing him, Adam Hoge.
He was getting there.
They know who these people are.
The listeners.
That's a good point. Although I feel like they should know your voices by now. Yes. Bragg, say hello.
Hello.
Greg Braggs said more hellos than anybody in the NFL Combine the entire week.
No doubt about it.
He's a hi, I'm Greg. And Will's here and Nick's here. And let me just say that these guys have been crushing it all week long, especially in the mornings when a lot of these prospects talks, and I've been trying to set up meetings elsewhere and things like that. These guys have been here getting so much content that's on CHGO, our Bears Twitter account. So if you've missed anything, please go back and check it out. You guys have also been writing. Braggs has just been writing about his life down here, which is cool.
Yep.
Yep, the Braggs Combine Diary.
Should we tell them what happened last night on the ride home from the restaurant?
Oh, yeah?
I don't know this story. I like to
don't
hear
know
it,
that.
Lawrence.
Yeah. Oh, should I come on camp? No, I don't need
Wait,
to
after dinner?
After dinner,
Okay.
It was myself, Carm, and Nick, and the Braggs article got posted.
Oh.
And so Carm, of course, being the guy who likes to just do shows in the car. Well, first of all, he turned the overhead light on to read his phone, which was bright light anyways. I'm like, why? It's not a book. What are you doing? But then he started reading it out loud to us, and I said, well, you got to do it in Braggs' voice. So he read the whole article in Braggs' voice.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I took it.
But we enjoyed it, Greg.
See, I appreciate that. I'm just trying to shoot from the heart this week and just give you a fan's perspective of
I love it.
Trying to pretend to be media like you guys have been doing a great job your whole lives. Anyway,
you're having a great combine, buddy.
I appreciate that.
MVP.
I am having a lot of fun. I'm getting more comfortable. But the other part of that story was we left dinner. I was at my Carm limit. We get along great, but I'd had enough. So I could have rode back with them. I paid $15 for an Uber just to avoid Carm, and so I could go home in peace and pack because we had to pack because this morning we were going to be getting out of the Airbnb early. So I literally paid $15 so I didn't have to hear Carm annoy me because he was on a kicker with me yesterday because of this whole Northwestern Purdue rivalry.
Such a rivalry.
Yes, which you were relentless about, and I think you had every right to be annoyed with you.
Yeah,
you both got each other.
So, all right. So,
Kevin Kaduk says R.I.P. Braggs' voice.
Yeah.
Is it struggling a little bit?
Yeah, it's not even from the talking. It's from the
lack
not
of
sleeping.
That would do
Me
it.
and Nick 2 nights in a row at Prime till late into the night.
I FaceTimed home this morning, and I'd already been awake for 2 hours, but it was like really the first time I had actually said something. And my wife was like, "You sound horrible," and I was like, "I guess I haven't my voice hasn't woken up yet."
We did just get a super chat. By the way, I have a bunch of super chats to get to, but this one is just very current, so I'm going to say it out loud now. Yoshino Sun 9, $10. Thank you. He says, or she, I'm not even sure here, because Yoshi is some sort of dinosaur or something. Although Yoshino's son. Anyways, moving on. Was cool to stop by you guys on the way to the stadium. Sad I missed Adam and Lawrence. Make sure to go to Brew Burger Bar the next time you're in Indy. They have the best homemade ketchup. Do you know who? Did you meet someone on the way to the stadium yesterday?
Yeah, we ran in. It's been nice. Been a few people, so I'm trying to
Thank you, Yoshino.
know for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that has stopped by and at various places and said hello this week. We didn't necessarily have anything formal. We've done a couple informal, hey, we're here, whatever. But, I think lesson learned. Next year when we're back down here, we should set something up. There are a lot of Bears fans in the area. A couple people we've met and hung out with. We appreciate that. But
next year when we're picking 32nd.
Yeah.
Ooh, got that right.
There's a prediction.
Got that right.
I like it.
Not a joke at all.
All right, I know we got more super chats to get to, but part of the reason why we are assembling here in this formation to close the week is because I know you guys got a lot of stuff from wide receivers today. A big need for the Bears. I think that as much as there doesn't appear to be like that top clear-cut X number one guy perhaps in this draft, I think there's a lot of interesting guys that could, sort of be sneaky like Darnell Mooney was and still be really good players. So, Will, what's like the number one thing you have that you wanted to share with everyone?
Yeah, so I think the two receivers that stood out to me throughout all those interviews was Rashee Rice and Kayshon Boutte. And yes, Nick, it is Boutte. And I was going to show you if I click the right button. Boo-Tee is the pronunciation.
It is Boutte. Okay.
So it's Boutte. So
I think it's booty.
Okay.
not Boutte.
See, you didn't have to go there.
To the booty?
Why?
Whoa.
Who's going to the booty?
What?
Well, you're going to talk about the booty.
Oh, yes. So I wrote an article on both of these guys. Both of them would love to play with Justin Fields, and they bring something a little bit different to the table. Rashee Rice kind of compared himself to a player that can go to the next level and kind of do DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson things. Okay. Those contested catches, that's what he believes makes him special. He said, quote, regardless to where the ball is, I'm going to catch it. And he also, Adam, doesn't believe in 50-50 balls. He believes in 0-100 balls.
Ooh.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
Go. Good job to his agent for prepping that line.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But no, he talks about being a little bit a heavier receiver, and it helps him in those contested catches situations. And I think we all agree that there were times last year when the Bears really kind of failed on those balls. Justin didn't have that receiver you can trust fully to just throw it up there. Hey, go up and get it. So Rashee Rice, somewhere in rounds 2 or 3 would make sense. And then same thing with Boutte. He's someone that a couple years ago was considered as like the best receiver of his class. Then he hurt his ankle in the middle of last season in 2021. It kind of bothered him all of last year in 2022. He said it's still he's good now, but it was definitely holding him back throughout the year. And he looks at himself as like a Stephon Diggs, someone that can use his feet, gain separation, and be an easy target for wide receivers. So again, two kind of separate styles of play here, but another player the Bears can target in a second, third round. He was a former first-round kind of contention guy, so maybe you buy low there for him. But the one thing I learned on Twitter today is it doesn't matter which of these receivers that you talk about, a lot of people don't like them, which makes a lot of sense. Like, obviously, you don't have that true guy like you talked about, but obviously the Bears need to add to the position, and those are a couple of guys that definitely stood out to me.
Well, for Greg, what about you? I know one wide receiver is kind of skyrocketed up in your eyes, and just tell the listeners who that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all in with Jackson Smith-Njigba, the idea of him playing with the Bears, just because that chemistry with Justin Fields. And I haven't come off that, but the person that really blew me away today, and honestly, just throughout this whole week, trying to ask questions to just find an answer about the Bears or Justin Fields, just trying to keep it simple with what I was doing. Today was the first day I found an interview or a question where it answered, and it changed the way I looked at this person, and that was Jordan Addison. His demeanor and his maturity and focus, like, he just seems like a very calculated person. And in his explanation of how he lines up at the line of scrimmage and tries to play off the DB and manipulate him and change his pace and route running and things like that. I mean, we all know what he's capable of if you watch his tape. So he's a good player, but then you combine that with the attitude and the things he was saying, and just, I don't know, maybe I'm old school, but the way he just looks right in your eye, and he's just a very mature person. And I was like, this dude's a pro. And these other guys got energy and excited and, different things. This dude is, like, locked in. And it kind of reminded me, and some Bears fans, how they feel about Allen Robinson. But I always called Allen Robinson suit and tie for the way he walked in and had a business-like approach to his game. And that's what I see with Jordan Addison.
For me, Greg, I had a similar feeling. It wasn't maybe, again, one of those top-end wide receivers in this draft class, but Michael Wilson from Stanford. It's a guy that was training, his trainer's TJ Hushmanzada, and he actually trains with Chase Claypool. Michael Pittman's been working with those guys. But the way he was answering questions, very detail-oriented. He knew that the Senior Bowl, which he did a fantastic job, was a huge opportunity for him because he was injured most of last season, or the season prior. So he had to make the most out of the Senior Bowl, and he knew that. So going in, he wanted to show, basically all the NFL teams that were there, I could be a route runner. I can be someone that has top-end speed, that can create separation. And he did that. But the guy, just how he's answering these questions and how detail-oriented he is, I think only speaks further to now what he showed on tape at that Senior Bowl.
Right.
But that's now a guy I look at if you're in the, day 2, day 3, back end of day 2, but maybe day 3. It's a guy that I think is going to have a good NFL career, someone who's going to be someone that you can rely on. But Michael Wilson was someone that stood out. But also, I think everybody here knows about Zay Flowers. Mm-hmm. That's probably arguably the number one, possibly the wide receiver in this draft class. A guy who gained 13 pounds, getting here to the NFL scouting combine. But
Braggs did too this week.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's because Carm.
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Fire.
Lawrence. I had to say it. Carm didn't have the mic, so I had to say it.
Carm wasn't listening.
You see what you've done? You see, this is just a bully pulpit.
Had he been listening, he would have said that. So I just
He's never listening. In meetings,
that's true.
Anything. He doesn't listen.
Sorry, Braggs. I love you. I do love you, honestly. Yeah, he doesn't even know. He just looked at us. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Carm's off camera right now, just fed up with.
But Greg, you asked Zay Flowers a question, right? Or was it Carm? Now I'm forgetting. We were all there. We weren't there.
Here's what I thought was about Steve Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
And what I thought was interesting though was Zay Flowers had a formal meeting with the Bears and mentioned how he had putt golf. You know, he did the golf thing, the golf experience.
You're making fun of me about.
I think next year the Bears need to upgrade this and have like a golf simulator in there, and not just a punting man. But I thought it was interesting that he said they didn't talk about Boston College at all though.
Yeah,
because he's got that connection with Ryan Poles. Right. He's like, no, that didn't come up.
And you busting my ass about how you don't ask why do you gotta ask who they met with? Well, that time when I asked,
that's a good point.
Brought out that A, they didn't talk about Boston College. And
I didn't
B,
even know that you were the one that asked that.
I did. Thanks. Attention to detail around here. At least some of the wide receivers around here got attention to detail. Yeah, I did. And that came out that they played golf. Maybe to like see how competitive he is, or whatever.
Well, they've been doing that with everyone. They got a dartboard in there, and
I didn't know if he meant 18 holes or like a golf simulator.
There's like a putt like mat, I think.
Okay,
and then they have a dartboard.
And I was like,
Larry
Mayer
wrote about it on the website. I think Fishbane got that out of a prospect too earlier in the week too. Good for him.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice said that Luke Getsy kicked his ass on that.
Oh, really? He
didn't use the A word, but he did say Getsy did
darts.
That. Oh, was it darts?
Yeah, well, that's the guy who asked the question to him.
I could see Getsy.
That was you.
That was me.
That was you.
He's got a lot of confidence.
That was
one question.
Too early this morning.
Let's go.
Did you play darts with the Bears?
Yeah, awesome.
See, now that I like that. That's different than did you meet with the Bears?
Someone had asked him about the Bears and meeting the Bears, and so I was like, well, did you play darts or did you whatever? And he's like, yeah, I lost it to Getsy. And it was he was smiling on his face. That's the kind of combine I want.
No, but Zay Flowers, certainly looks the part. And Corey Wooten's really high on him. And you can kind of just see that swagger.
He does have that.
Yeah, he's got that,
that chain on, too.
Yeah, he's just got that wide receiver swagger, and I don't know. Depending on where he goes, I think he could be a really, really explosive weapon for the Bears.
Well, you got other wide receiver notes in there?
The one that I did want to bring up was Quentin Johnston. I asked him a tough question about the perception that he's a body catcher and doesn't catch with his hands. That's the criticism you see a lot with people that analyze the tape. And he didn't deny it. He admitted that was a thing, and he said, it's not like I can't catch with my body. This is just what comes naturally to me. And then he said, it is something I'm working on. I'm using the jugs machine, and I'm catching 200, 300 balls a day. So, I appreciated his honesty, but at the same time, he kind of admitted to a pretty big flaw. And if you're going to take a wide receiver that high, you'd hope they're a little closer to a finished product.
Kevin White.
Yeah, he said he was catching hundreds of footballs per day, on the outside of his body, working on that. And then the other thing from Johnston that was interesting, they asked what his favorite route was. I know there was a guy going around asking the receivers that, and it surprised me. He said it was the curl route, because he can sell the vertical, which everyone knows he's pretty dangerous at. And then once it's sold, he can just drive into the grass and turn his body and box out.
See, I like him. I feel like I've somehow fallen into the minority on this one, but I watched way more TCU football this year than I probably should have. Before we realized they were.
CFP team.
I'm talking about earlier in the year, before we even knew they were good.
Okay.
He's got big time talent. You watch him in the college football playoff do that high step and then take it down the sideline for a touchdown. That was like Randy Moss-esque just with the speed. I'm not saying obviously Moss had the hands, but when he talks about I catch with my body. Well, he's outrunning everyone, so it's not like he has too many contested catches because he's just blowing people away. I mean, is he going to do that in the NFL? Maybe. I mean, you'd like him, obviously, to catch with his hands, but a lot of times he just doesn't have to because he's beating you.
Yeah.
I thought a good quote earlier, too, not wide receiver, but quarterback. I was listening in on Hendon Hooker for a bit, and a question came about, like, can you go through your progression? You tend to lean on your first read, and he was like, it's not my fault they're always open. Like that, yeah. I'm just throwing to the guy who's open, and if we're designing it up and he's the first read, like I'm going to go ahead and hit it. And then someone followed up about, like, I think testing his knowledge a bit, like you're in the red zone, it's third down, defense is in cover 3, like what's your go-to? And he was talking like, well, I'll do like a YCL concept, try to bait him over to the middle, and then do something freaky, I think he said, on the outside of the double move and get him in the corner. I thought that was a good answer. And
wow.
The level of detail he went in there. To the media, obviously he probably goes way more detail with coaches, but for him to be in that spot and just kind of whip that out, I thought it was pretty cool.
You know, a guy we haven't talked about, and it's probably the one that Bears fans are most excited about, is Jackson Smith-Njigba, right? The wide receiver from Ohio State. And he was asked, what would it be like if you were to start your career in Ohio State? And he said, it would mean a lot. I would definitely appreciate that there in Chicago. Justin Fields, playing with an elite quarterback. I think it would just be good for both of us to be there. To have that support on and off the field would definitely mean a lot to me. And Fields has already kind of said before that he would want a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba if, the Bears were to draft a guy like that. So
it's so funny because it's like part of the reason why I want the Bears, if they're going to trade back, to do it sooner rather than later is so like we know where they're picking, because like so many of these guys that we've just been talking about, whether it's Johnson or Jackson Smith-Njigba, or like we haven't even talked about
Jaden Reed from Michigan State, another guy.
Nick, we were having a conversation about Lucas Van Ness last night. Like there's all these guys that are like more like in the teens or maybe late top 10 that we like aren't even in the conversation because you just don't think they're in the Bears range. But if the Bears make that move back and they're picking like 9th, like
there's options now.
There's a lot of these guys make sense there at 9. So it's good that you guys were out there grilling these dudes this morning and
it was fun
and learning all this stuff.
It was fun.
So, because it could very well come into play. And again, all this stuff, we kind of, I'm sure, take a step back when we get home and organize all our notes and all this stuff from the week. Remember, we have the database for our CHGO diehards, our diehard database for both free agency and the draft. I've been looking at it right now as these guys have been talking. But we'll be adding all these notes and our thoughts and things into these, in the coming weeks, sooner rather than later, especially after the Combine. You can't rush all this stuff, and now that we got the Combine in the books, and now we got some good info to put in here. So anybody who's a CHGO diehard has access to the same database we're using as we talk through all these prospects on the show. So make sure you're checking it out. And if you're not a diehard, want to become one, go to allchgo.com/diehard.
And while you're there, you can also read Nick and I publish our articles today on the receivers. Mine was on Booty and Rice, and you talked about JSN and Justin Fields kind of wanting to reunite.
Yeah, that's also on allchgo.com, so you can definitely check that out and learn more about these wide receivers.
We still have to do our second break, right?
Yeah. Second break. Okay. We have some super chats.
I know that was happening, and then
our brains were getting fried,
I'm fried
a little bit. And how dare you make fun of Braggs' diet this week, okay? My diet has literally been caffeine, old fashions, and steak.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing.
That's not bad, actually.
That's like the indie diet. I think we should call that the indie diet.
The indie diet.
You know what also is a part of my diet? Goose Island. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company. Chicago's beer since 1988. So many great options like the Blackhawks Pale Ale, Bull City 312, Beer Hug IPA Series, and my new favorite, No Plans. And Goose Island's 2 local locations are open and ready to welcome you. Grab a beer right now from their innovation tanks at the Goose Island Tap Room at 1800 West Fulton, or get a smash burger and a fresh beer of the week at the original Clybourne Brewhouse at 1800 North Clybourne. For reservations and pickup, go to gooseisland.com/locations, Goose Island Beer Company.
And Bears fans, you already know about Game Time. Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could? The 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate, What about floor seats at a concert? It's all possible within the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. You won't find a better deal this season on really any of the Chicago teams, whether it be the Bulls, the Blackhawks. We have baseball coming up, Sox and Cubs. And once we get back to September, those Chicago Bears. And Game Time, they were created by the fans, for the fans, something I really appreciate and resonate with, and they guarantee the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, you're going to love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets directly through the link in the description here on YouTube and on the podcast player of choice. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events.
All right. We, I think, are calling it a wrap here from Indy.
We got super chats.
We got super chats.
What's going on here? Why is that camera facing that
Super
way?
duper.
I was just going to say,
Are you guys watching the stream?
I'm trying. It's a little
It's
delayed.
it's very delayed, but Carm, I can't believe Carm's not at the stadium right now watching the workouts.
I know.
I'm disappointed in him. What are you doing here?
Just get that Uber to go to the United Center.
Go watch some guys run some 40s.
What do you want?
It's just been a great week. I'd like to say thank you to everybody and anyone who I annoyed yesterday with my lack of appreciation. No, not you. My lack of appreciation for the stadium experience at the Combine, which was the worst sporting event, if you want to call it that. I know you don't, Adam. Event that you could ever go to.
Because it's not a sporting event.
Oh,
It's a combine that they've realized NFL fans are insane enough to come in and spend money on concessions. So no one's trying to claim that it's supposed to be a good sporting event.
Will, did you have a good time?
I had a time. How about that? I had a time. I've been there. I knew what to expect. I told you guys what was about to happen on the walk, so it was fine.
Yeah, listen, I actually, for the record,
I love that. This is the best.
I had a fine time. It was a lovely time. It was a great time.
Even
your first
realized
time,
the
Chris,
on his
first
ears.
combine.
For 5 minutes. And Lawrence took a picture of me, and now there's 3 people on Twitter that don't like me anymore. But we're going to be friends again. It was great to be with all of you. I'm just saying goodbye to
Wait, real quick. Yes. Renewable and Rechargeable Review said this a little earlier. Carm equals David Spade to Braggs is Farley. And I think that's...
that is great. I like that. I like that. I like how Braggs just got done telling his story about how he spent money to stay away from Carm yesterday, and then he just had to deal with that for like 90 seconds of him hugging him.
Oh, man.
You guys are something special.
It's entertaining.
We're
with those
special,
two.
all right. We are special.
Yeah, so we should do some super chats?
Let's do some super chats, and then apparently get on
Death
the
Road.
I-65 Death Road.
Death Road.
I'm not. I'm
staying.
I'm gonna
guy's
go. I'm gonna
insane.
go to the Combine tomorrow,
Wait,
and there's a chance Will be joining
That's
me as
right.
well.
Did you get a spot on Jerry Jones's bus? Or
Yeah,
were you
I'm actually
traveling?
staying at Jim Irsay's house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna have a late night.
About time.
So work out a trade, and then tomorrow I'll be here for the offensive linemen and running backs. So we're gonna keep this train
Hell yeah,
rolling.
Greg, let's go.
We got momentum.
Yes,
you
we
got to
do, man.
strike while the iron's hot. Yeah, I'm tired, but you know what? You can sleep when you're dead.
That is true.
That's a great point.
And you can't sleep when you're at the Combine. Let's speak with the Duke, because our guy, the Duke, we love you so much. 1999, he says, I want JSN now. I like the idea of a trade back with a team who coughs up their 3-tech, gets us into position to draft JSN, and then one of the many edges that look impressive in the high second round.
Hey, it's
All
it's
right.
a good match with Justin Fields, JSN. They only played, 7 games at Ohio State together, but
I
that
think
connection.
it's just wild how much of an uncertainty it is where he'll be drafted. Some people think he's up end of the first round. I've seen a few people even say second round, and then there's other people that say at number 9 or 11.
He thinks he's a top 5 pick. Not wide
It's
receiver,
just
top 5
you
pick.
just never see that wide of a range.
Well,
of
remember
a
last year what
projection.
happened in the draft though? Like there were some talented wide receivers, and then none of them went top 10, and then all of a sudden it was right at 10,
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, something like that. There were 3 in a row right there. You got this little run on receivers. I think given the lack of wide receivers, and what we've seen in recent years about teams wanting to get these guys, you're going to see a team probably take them in the teens.
I could see that.
I think.
Yeah.
I think Johnson goes too, just by concerns, because some teams are going to want that big guy, and there's really only one of them.
Physical attributes, yep.
So
Gotta take it.
All right, we're going to stick with another one from the Duke because it's the Duke. We're going to do it. This is $9.99, and he's quoting C.J. Stroud from that video we posted. He said, he ain't no damn running back, talking about Justin Fields. And he says, please, C.J., don't go to a rival team because I don't want to have to hate you.
Funny story about the tweet on the CHGO Bears account. I had a tweet. He ain't no damn quarterback.
Oh, no.
And then I'm like, wait, let me not send that because that's not what we want to have.
You did hit
Oh.
send, right? But we have like the 10-second little countdown.
So he never posted?
It never
Right.
posted. I'm like, oh, shit, that would have been bad.
Crisis
That would have been
averted.
bad. I don't know why it like
Was that a slip, Nick?
I don't know.
Freudian slip?
It was a slip. It was a slip.
All of Chicago would
that's
have been at
combine
our
brain.
studio
That we
front
would have been
door
blocked
with
from
pitchforks
everything.
and axes.
My God.
But I,
That would have
like,
killed all the momentum.
Probably could have blamed Carm for the tweet, though.
Yeah, we could blame it on Carm for sure.
He's not listening.
It
would've been
that's the go-to.
Hashtag combine brain, which is a new thing I've experienced this week.
Oh, I definitely have that. If anyone's been watching this broadcast and the PHNX broadcast, there have been a few mistakes from me. Anyway, Ken Pachi Zaraki hit us with a triple super chat here. So we're going to start with this one, $4.99. Thank you. He says, I get the ideal way to build a team is through the draft, but is everyone getting trade back crazy with like 3 to 4 trade downs in the first round? And then he says, continuing on here, another $4.99. The further you trade back, the higher the risk. There is this thing called free agency with actual people that played in the NFL to help build the team.
Good point. Yes,
And another $1.99. Thank you again. Studs help the play of players around them.
Multipliers. Multipliers. That's what the football term is for.
And you know what?
Multipliers.
The best teams build through the draft. And yes, they have a lot of money to spend in free agency. Talking about that with Brad Spielberger, they're going to have to spend money. But you're already starting to see a thinning of the herd of the premier players that are worth paying crazy money for. And you mentioned it, where like they're going to probably be in a position where they might sign some guys that are premier, but only to 1-year deals, so they don't have to overly commit. Find those kind of guys. Are they going to find blockbuster free agent guys like when Lovie Smith flew out to get Julius Peppers on the first day of free agency? I don't think so. I think they're going to try to build through the draft and use free agency to kind of fill the pieces to either hold over or find guys that are on a good deal for them.
No argument there. I agree.
All right, and this is from Luke Benson, $4.99. Thanks, Luke. He says, if the Bears drop out of the top 10, I really like Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. Already lined up outside, will be a QB's best friend. Any thoughts?
And we didn't talk about tight ends. I mean, they were here today, too.
Mm-hmm. The idea of getting another tight end, yeah.
I love the tight end class. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them.
Your guy, what's his name, Wiley, the kid out of Cincinnati? He walked right by us today.
Josh Wiley. He's somebody that I could see rise up. I'm trying to pull up our tight end list.
We were talking to someone
From
last
Notre
night.
Dame.
Said Sam Laporta from Iowa would be a good compliment to Cole Kmet. So
yeah, Sam Laporta. Definitely not looking at that Purdue kid.
Michael Meyer. Michael Meyer from Notre Dame. Payne Durham.
Yeah,
Luke
and
Musgrave.
then Darnell Washington. Huge. Dude is huge.
So
is Darnell the Georgia?
From Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
He's a beast.
Musgrave's going to be interesting because he could very well end up being the best tight end from this group. But I think there's some medical concerns. So his week with the doctors, which is a huge part of this week at the Combine, will be big. He's had a lot of injuries, but he's 6'5.5", 255.
He runs like a wide receiver.
Yeah, he runs like a wide receiver.
Seen him at the Senior Bowl, yeah.
I like Dalton Kincaid from Utah too. It's a really good tight end class. So I think it makes a lot of sense to try to pluck one of those guys somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round if you can. And another reason why you want to add as much draft capital if you can, those 3rd and 4th round picks matter.
Even if you extend Cole Kmet, these guys are somebody you should be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 tight end sets, and now you got 2 dangerous tight ends. Because the other aspect, as much as we want every wide receiver we're talking about in this draft, you don't know where they're going to fall to you or if you can even get them.
Yep.
There's none in free agency, basically, that I'm interested in personally. Then you talk about trading for one. There's no guarantee in that. Mm-hmm. So now if you're Ryan Poles, and he mentioned this in his end-of-season presser where he was asked by, I think, Herb Howard, like, is it imperative that you get a number 1 wide receiver? And he pushed back saying, it's about the collective. Mm-hmm. And you talk about, he comes from Kansas City where they lose Tyreek Hill, they win the Super Bowl. So they kind of prove that collective theory with a great quarterback. So now you come here, if you can't get the wide receiver, which I'd prefer, a wide receiver 1, I think we all do, well, now you can get tricky and get a tight end just to add to that passing arsenal.
Yeah, and you need it. Last year outside of Kmet, you didn't have any production at tight end. They brought in 2 veterans, in James O'Shaughnessy and Ryan Griffin. O'Shaughnessy didn't even make the team. Griffin was here. They brought in Wesco throughout, but still, like, the production was minimal at best. So you need to find that extra tight end to kind of open things up for this offense too. And having a young guy that you draft to pair with Kmet for the long haul would be tremendous for Justin Fields to have another guy there, another big body to throw to.
Yep.
Any more Super Chats?
I do have another Super Chat. This is from Gary Cadishone, is how I'm going to say that. I'm not sure how to say that, but this is I think I know the answer to this one from this group. Bears Super Bowl or Bulls Finals, if you could choose.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Definitely the Bears.
He's probably, Gary, if I had to guess, is probably too young to have seen the Jordan championships. So, like, for me, that's not even an answer. I saw the Bulls win 6 titles. I got to experience that, and I'm very grateful every day of my life that part of my sports experience was watching and cheering for Michael Jordan for my team. So, it still blows me away to this day. So, that's an easy one.
Bears.
Bears Super Bowl is the last one to wait for.
All right. And then just a couple more things here. These are not supers, but they are super, so we're going to throw them up here. Aaron Current says, Bragg's killing it this week with 2 of these emojis right here.
Let's go. I can't believe you're staying until tomorrow.
All because of this guy's leadership. And the team we have here, we're all pulling from the same rope. Everybody's got a different role here. Honestly, these guys are just research gurus. I can't speak highly enough about that. Talk about detail-oriented with the wide receivers. These guys are detail-oriented. They're the real deal. Mark, he's crazy. He's driving me nuts, but he's one of those guys that always finds the angles.
He's saying wrap it up, guys. He's saying wrap it up over there.
He challenges me, and I like that. He keeps me on my toes. You are our fearless leader as far as I'm concerned. And Lawrence, everything you do behind the scenes, you were editing till 10 o'clock at night last night when we were blowing out the door to go watch a Purdue game. So, the clock doesn't end for Lawrence. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough about it. But you know what?
Wisconsin game.
You'll just have to wait for my Saturday article for me to gush about how much I love you guys.
And definitely not reading that.
Today I'm going to do a breakdown of all the wide receivers I talked to. So I'm going to save the sappiness. I'm going to save the sappiness for Saturday.
A lot of content up. allchgo.com. These guys got stuff.
Steve B says the content you guys have been getting out is both quality and quantity. Amazing stuff. Thank you, Steve B.
Thank you.
And I'll have another newsletter probably end of the weekend, early next week. We'll see. But got some notes to share from all the fun times this week.
Earlier the better. I go on vacation next week. And I have to push that thing out for you.
Yeah, you're right. What day are you leaving?
Wednesday.
Okay. Oh, it'll be before that.
All right, perfect.
And finally, Rockstar80 says, team, do not drive I-65.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it. Don't scare these guys because they're going to do it. They got to get back to their families. From what I'm seeing on the radar, it looks like it's just mostly rain. You might get a little snow as you get close to Chicago. So it's not like snow the whole drive.
No or new?
They lifted the wind. They lifted the winter weather advisory in Chicago.
Oh, that's good.
Pat Finley actually just texted
It's going to be
that
a
to me.
patch as you go through my neck of the woods.
I'm still worried. Yeah,
Point,
that's what I'm
Indiana.
worried about. Northwest Indiana.
Well, and if you got a detour, you can stop by Jenny. I'll have my mom make you lettered pancakes.
Oh, Barbara. I love Barbara. Your boy Boogie says, appreciate y'all's work, guys. Be safe on the trip. Turn around, don't drown. And then from head of content, Kevin K-Duck.
Oh.
Is that his name? Head of what?
Head of content?
I got that right. Did I get that right?
You got it.
You did it.
Sorry, it's been a long week. He says, Carm telling someone to wrap it up.
I know. I said this yesterday, Kevin. Everything he says to me is just a projection of who he is. Everything. Even the fat jokes. Look at his pot belly over there.
All right. I'm ending the show before we get kicked out of here. I want to be able to leave voluntarily and not lose my credential. All right. In all seriousness, thanks to everyone all week. The production's been outstanding. Even everyone back, especially everybody back in Chicago too, helping pump all this stuff out and getting out on social and editing it. It's a true team effort. We love our team. We love how big of a team it is, and especially at these events like we had at the Super Bowl and now here Combine Week. It's very rewarding. So thank you to everybody who's been watching it all week, from the Ryan Poles interview all the way to Braggs calling Carm fat at the end.
What a week.
Is there one more thing?
Yeah, one last super chat from Monty. I don't quite understand this. He says, my hair is up to my shoulders.
Yep.
Should I just buzz it? And shout out to Hoge with the plastic bag on feet trick as a garbage man. It saved me.
There you go. Yeah, that's from my sideline days. A little trick that Northwestern taught me.
Yeah.
Those smart people that when
but if
it's
his hair's
raining,
up to his shoulders, should he buzz it? As someone who had the COVID long hair nightmare thing going that I had, yes.
Time
Go
to buzz it.
back to the regular do. I mean,
normal.
I look good. Come on, look at me. Yeah, I
You
do.
look like $1 million.
Thank you. All right, let's end the show.
all right. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you
Later.
back in Chicago on Monday.